It's another edition of the Bark Tank, everybody. Welcome in from the home office. My name is Andrew Siciliano. We appreciate you being here after another tough Browns loss. They go to New England and they fall 32-13. It opened, well, obviously, Dylan Gabriel and Harold Fannin on the somewhat corny National Tight End Day, and then David Njoku scored in the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much decided. Another touchdown on National Tight End Day, but there was not enough offense. You know that by now, and the Browns go to 2-6 entering the bye. We are presented by Sugardale, as we always are. Sugardale, everybody, brought to you or bringing you the Bark Tank. And I wish I had better news for you. I'm going to quote Alex Wright, who spoke right before we sit down to record this. Alex Wright and Joel Bitonio speaking on Monday to the Browns media after Kevin Stefanski spoke. And Alex Wright said, and this is a bit of a cliche, but he means it. He says that he hates losing more than he loves winning. And I think all of us can agree. But last week did feel really good. You love to win. And I see parallels this year to last, where last year, remember, the Browns, we had beaten the Ravens, obviously, and then you have the Chargers coming in the next week right before the bye, and then you're looking ahead after the bye where you get the Saints in New Orleans, and the Saints aren't any good, and they're firing their coach, and hey, you can get something going here. This kind of felt the same way. You're getting the Patriots, and you know they're good, but how good are they? And then you get the bye, and then you go to the Jets, and the Jets, when the Browns took the field yesterday on Sunday in New England, the Jets had not yet won a game. And you're like, all right, here's the parallel. And I spoke to Kevin Stefanski before the game about that parallel and was that brought up during the week. And he obviously said, hey, amnesia, focus on this one. But unfortunately, the same thing kind of happened. And it wasted, and we said this on the broadcast, wasted is not the wrong way to say it, wasted an historic performance by Myles Garrett. 5 sacks. 5 sacks is Canton-worthy. When Myles gets his gold jacket, likely on the very first ballot one day, and he is at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium down the road from Huntington Bank Field, they will show highlights of this game Sunday, as well as they'll show highlights of the 3-sack performance in the game before the bye last year in the first half off Justin Herbert. And they'll show highlights from the 2021 performance of his 4.5 sacks against Justin Fields and Jason Peters sending the veteran left tackle into, I believe at that point, his 5th retirement. They will show highlights from all these games. They're not all billed equally. This one, the Browns lost. And you say, yeah, you wasted a 5-sack effort. It is just a gut punch. And you saw Myles' frustration. Nathan and I saw him throw the helmet. That was right in front of us. Great broadcast position in New England. He threw the helmet. 2 hands. Bam, right down to the ground. Can't hide that. It happened. And he said afterwards he threw it because he wanted to be on the field. He wanted to keep going, not for sacks. But, hey, if we have other starters on the field, I want to be on the field. I want to fight to the very end. I think it speaks to who Myles is. Alex Wright, same thing. He wants to be on the field to the very end. He had a heck of a game. We pull out the box score here on Alex Wright as he's at a contract year. He had a sack. He had 3 TFLs. He had a great game. Shelby Harris had a couple of TFLs as well. Carson Schlesinger had his first career INT, and he also added ankle sprain. If there's any silver lining here, it's that Kevin Stefanski said on Monday that it does not appear as if Schlesinger is going to go on injured reserve. And my colleague Ian Rappaport, by the way, Mike Garafolo from NFL Network will join us coming up in a couple of minutes here as well. Ian Rappaport says that while it could be a high ankle sprain, it does not appear to be as serious as maybe could have been. So fingers crossed on that one. Either way, Kevin said it is a week-to-week ankle sprain, and a week off will certainly help for Carson Schlesinger. His entire family, or at least a lot of Schlesingers, were there right in front of us where Nathan and I were calling the game at the 40-yard line behind the Browns bench. Great to see their celebration after Carson's first career INT, which gave the Browns great field position, but they couldn't cash in. The offense didn't do anything, and Andre Schmidt missed a field goal. He's only missed 2 kicks since week 1 in Cincinnati. He missed a 50-plus job in Detroit, understandable, and then he missed this 47-yard kick, if memory serves, in New England. Not the reason they lost the game. The reason they lost the game is because the offense simply isn't doing enough. And also, as great as Myles' performance was, the Browns defense probably tired on its heels in the third quarter, and Drake May played an amazing game. You know how many incompletions Drake May, the Patriots quarterback, had in the second half? That many. He had 0 incompletions in the second half. You tip your cap to him. The guy played fantastic. There'll be a lot of headlines this week about Myles. The only headlines that should matter are the guy is playing his tail off. He's tied for the league lead as we sit here today with 10 sacks, tied with Brian Burns. He doubled his sack output, and he's a one-man wrecking crew. People say, oh, you lost the game. Yeah, you did. What if I told you that Derek Thomas, not exactly a badge of honor here, but Derek Thomas, who, as we mentioned yesterday during the broadcast, had 7 sacks, which is the all-time record. He also had a 6-sack performance one day, the late, great Derek Thomas. In his 7-sack performance, his Kansas City Chiefs lost. Believe it or not. They lost as well. They lost 17-16 to the Seahawks in Week 10, 1990. Granted, that was so long ago the Seahawks were in the AFC. Fun fact, kids, the Seahawks used to be in the AFC. That was a division game, the Chiefs and the Seahawks in the AFC West. It was a while ago. It was 35 years ago, but the Seahawks, or rather, the Chiefs also lost that game. All right, let's look ahead here. After the bye, the Browns get the Jets, and there are still 9 games remaining on the schedule. What makes Sunday's game more frustrating is that the AFC North continues to be a mosh pit. The Bengals did lose to the Jets. The Steelers did lose to the Packers. The Browns with a victory would have been sitting there at 3-5, only 1 game back in the win column behind the Steelers, knowing that you face them again at Huntington Bank Field in December, knowing you face the Bengals again Week 18 in Cincinnati. I'm telling you, there is still a chance when you have 2 wins and the team leading the division has only 4. However, it's getting late early, and you got to get some wins after the bye. You have to, and everyone knows that. And hopefully you can fight through the injuries. Hopefully Tyson Campbell, who is playing well, gets through concussion protocol. Quinshon Judkins with a shoulder injury, he could use a week off as well. Certainly a heavy workload going back to the 25 carries in the win over the Dolphins. And that Rayshon Jenkins as well can get that wrist and his injury healthy. And that Shedeur Sanders as the number 2 quarterback, back injury. He was also inactive this past Sunday, that everyone could get healthy because there is still a very long season ahead of you. But this one was a gut punch. It was definitely a gut punch, maybe more so than others, to be quite frank. The emotional day, the 1-year anniversary of Jim's passing, you just really wanted a win there the week before the bye. Really, really, really wanted one. But it's a much-needed week off, certainly for everyone, and hopefully you reboot on the road with a winnable game. Look at the records, look at the standings. A winnable game after the bye against maybe Justin Fields, maybe not Justin Fields. We'll find out. We'll find out week number 10. All right, the man that you find out a lot of things from, as mentioned, is this week's guest on the Bark Tank. I know I like to pump up the guest, right? Put his name in big lights, bright lights, also big lights. But I don't think I'm overstating it when I say that this guy is the star of the Insiders. That might even be an inside joke. Every day, Monday through Friday, on NFL Network at 7 p.m. Eastern, right, Mike Garafolo? Good to see you.
7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that joke had layers. So, and none of which was available to the public because both are on the inside. So,
hence the Insiders.
Yeah. Welcome inside with the Insiders.
Welcome inside.
I remember when it was Week 18 last year, we were together in Baltimore, and you said, I'm outside with an insider. That was good,
too. There you go. I forgot that one, actually. Yeah, good times. It was like 12 degrees, Rodney McLeod's final game before his huge media career. Bailey Zappi started that game for the Browns.
Yep.
Time is a flat circle, I believe. Was it McConaughey who said that?
It was Matthew McConaughey looking at a flattened can. I have no idea what movie that was from, but...
Oh, no, it was True Detective.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Fantastic.
Actually,
Really? You've never seen True Detective?
well, I was going to say I didn't see that season.
Okay.
I fall behind it. I watch Hard Knocks, but
Yeah.
HBO shows like come and go, and I'm like, wait, that's gone.
Regardless, welcome to the Bark Tank, Mike Garafolo. Happy to have you. As we sit here, record this on Monday after the Browns lose, we're heading into the bye. So we figured we would do like a league-wide perspective thing because we are a week away from the trade deadline. And actually, there's a trade just moments ago before we sit down with Roger McCreary, the former second-round corner in Tennessee, going from the Titans to the Rams. It's a late-round pick swap, 5s and 6s and things like that. Fun times. So as that gets us into this week, how active do you think between today and next Tuesday we're going to be?
Mildly active. I had a conversation yesterday at a Giants Eagles with one of the personnel folks. We'll call them that. And they said they feel it feels like a lot of the guys, a lot of the headlining guys are like core. Ownership type guys, right? Where like it's hard to move those. Oh, like Max Crosby, no way, 0 chance. Even AJ Brown, I know what Jeffrey Lurie feels about AJ Brown. So you could see some movement on the guys in the bottom rungs, and maybe they're up against the end of their contracts. The Jets are interesting to me because I feel like the Jets should be active, whether it's Breece Hall or Quinnen Williams or Quincy Williams. At some point, like, you got to do something with this core because they've sort of been together for a while and they really haven't accomplished much. And these guys don't seem like they want to be there, a lot of them. So, okay, you don't want to be here? Fine. Let's start and let's figure out who our guys are going to be going forward. So I think you'll see some action. Last year, I feel like was really busy. Monday and Tuesday. And I don't remember the number. So Darius Smith was moved, I think. Preston Smith was moved, both Smiths, if I'm not mistaken.
Eddie Smith will do.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith. So yeah, I think we'll see like a half dozen or so between now and then. If we're north of that, I might be surprised.
All right, so help our viewers, listeners, with how the sausage is made. And look, we did this every day. We did trade deadline shows every year, rather, on NFL Network for years, on NFL Now, the Insiders, whatever. There is a game that is played with, like, for example, a report that says player X is not expected to be moved, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people might look at that, or they might listen to the very specific language being used and say, well, that is a team saying, hey, we don't want to move them, but you should really call and make us a good offer. How do you translate the information you're getting and try to really get to what's going on?
I've
you know what I'm saying?
A run of like the last 2 weeks where I just don't believe anybody. There's just been so much intentional or unintentional misinformation, even with like injury stuff, right? So like if the Eagles trade AJ Brown, I'm closing all my social accounts. Like, I'm done. Because I've said it so many times that he's not expected to be moved, which is sort of like us providing a little bit of wiggle room just in case something happens.
We have to.
Yeah, but like when you get the people that tell you he's not going anywhere, it's like, well, I have to relay this, right? And then sometimes things do change, right? Sometimes we're not necessarily wrong. And of course, if it's somebody off the record and says, hey, don't quote me on this, but like, that's not happening, right? And then it happens. There's no skin off of their butt except for the conversation between me and them. But publicly, their name was never on it. My name was. So when it comes to AJ Brown, I don't think it's the Eagles like, oh, he's not expected to be moved. You know what I mean? Whereas I'd probably put Quinnen Williams in that department, right? Quinnen Williams, like, we're not moving him unless we get blown away. So come blow us away. That kind of thing. There's a few guys that fit into that. So how do I translate it as best I possibly can and relay it as best as I possibly can, as bulletproof as possible, and as confident in it as I can be?
How often is there a situation like here now, leading up to the trade deadline, where agents, and maybe this is getting too inside baseball here, will reach out and go, hey, my guy wants out?
Only if it's like, we're going to put this out, right? Because there's a couple of guys that I know have asked for a trade, whether it's like, there's a Rappaport Pelissero text coming through right now that I'll share with you afterward. That's just typical Ian. Excuse me while I
tell him. This is live text chaining, by the way, between the three insiders.
Tell him to chill, and we have it. Relax.
Yeah, there's a separate chain in which I'm in there, in which Pelissero totally misunderstood a text last week and made a video because he totally misunderstood. You were on that, right?
I'm on it.
You were on it. You didn't see the video he made?
I missed that one. I'm sorry. I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it back to you.
A video, a screenshot video.
Yeah.
A video of himself.
And then he totally misunderstood it. And I'm like, dude, that's great. Thanks. I'm glad you put all that work into it, but that's not what I meant.
Oh, here you go. Quote. I won't say who texted about the other, but he's now going to rage. What was your question?
Agents reaching out like, hey, I want my guy out.
No, because there's a few guys that have quote unquote, I don't know why I'm quoting. There's a few guys who have requested trades, and it's like, just keep that so there's not a lot of. The only time they'll proactively reach out is like, hey, we're putting this out. Myles Garrett had his early in the offseason. I'm old enough to remember when Myles Garrett wanted to be traded. Like that was him and his agents, and like, we're going public with this thing. So that was a proactive, so you very rarely get those this time of year. It's more or less like us digging around and like, yeah, we've made it clear, like he'd prefer not to be there. Don't put anything out. I'll let you know if anything changes, but like, we're not going to go public with it because it's hard to do that this time of year. It's more of like when we, I talked about Myles in the offseason, early on, before anything's really set, before the money's spent, that's the time to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, totally get it. You're talking to Mike Garafolo. Let's, I'm going to do a sponsorship thing real quick here. Let's do What's Sizzlin', presented by Sugardale. You see the Sugardale thing over my shoulder here, the shelf, home office here today. We usually go around the AFC North. Let's just real quick. What's your insight as to what went down at Baltimore this week? Ian kind of moved the needle here when he said that Lamar did practice on Friday. It was with the scout team, however, not the first team. And then there seemed to be a cleanup very quickly on aisle Baltimore.
I told Ian, I'm like, you did actual journalism this week. Way to go, dude. Because so much of what we do is, I just told you, like, they tell us stuff and like, don't say anything yet.
No,
like,
that's
not journalism. That's insidering or whatever you want to call it. Scooping or scoopage.
Scoopage.
But that's what Glazer calls it. But no, that was real journalism. Was like, they said something publicly. You had information that misproved it, and you forced them to change it. I was like, hey, all right, way to go. So what's my understanding? I mean, John Harbaugh post-game yesterday was like, hey, it ain't, dude, you are the head coach of the football team and the entire building, okay? You and the general manager who managed the building, don't put it on, poor Chad Steele. I don't know, PR does it with, come on. These micromanagers who handle everything are like, oh, it's not me. It doesn't matter who it is. They're going to get penalized for this.
Okay, so what's that penalty going to be? I think we already saw the Dayball thing. So, yeah. I mean, that was live for the whole world to see. And everyone, like, I don't know about you, but I'm watching that game going, ooh, boy, that's uncomfortable. You can't do that. And you knew right then and there, especially in a primetime game, they're going to get fined. He got $100,000. I think the organization got $250,000. Yeah. Could the Ravens lose draft picks?
Yes, I think they're going to. I think
multiple?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it's going to wind up being. Let's call it one mid to late round, right? Let's call it like a fourth, fifth round, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what the precedent is here. But like, legitimately, you put something on the injury report that wasn't accurate in a week where we know what's going on in the NBA. There had also been, I mean, there were a few last week, like Friday into Saturday. A lot of these quarterback statuses, stati, changed.
Miami, Atlanta,
Carolina.
Well, in Carolina, we knew he wasn't going to play.
But Carolina also early in the week said day to day, whereas Kyle Shanahan came to the podium on Wednesday. Was like, Brock Purdy's likely not playing.
Game plan, yeah.
Which, and I gave him his I don't call it flower. It's what you're supposed to do, right? Like the old Chris. But he's, it's like, don't worry about that stuff. I almost cursed. Don't worry about that stuff. Play good football, right? Like, coach good football. Don't worry about this little stuff. Like, you don't need, I love it. I love more power to Kyle Shanahan. I wish there was an award. Well, there's good guy awards, I guess, in the media.
I mean, look, Kyle's the guy that stands up there and says, hey, I don't know if we're all going to be alive tomorrow. So, I mean, that's the greatest of all time.
Hey, but I just love that it's like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for these games. Let's just get on with it. I actually have had a head coach where I've told him, like, hey, FYI, I'm hearing this. I don't know if it's true, but I'm hearing like this player might not play this week. And I've had that coach tell me, I don't want any of that. Don't worry about it. I don't care. Like, leave it. Don't just, we'll see what's out there on the injury report and we'll go by that. I was like, okay. And never, ever bothered him ever again. So, what I think happened, John Harbaugh's been around long enough to know the rules. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I also think the obvious answer was, just misunderstanding. It's not my fault. They put something out. We figured it out, and then we corrected it. I mean, that was always going to be the answer. Yes. And we'll see how 345 deals.
At that point, I don't care what he says. Like, it's already doesn't matter. So,
finally here, and we appreciate your time. Not throw a curveball at you, but you and I didn't discuss this before we started. We were all stunned. Obviously, a huge Ohio State audience here. Right before kickoff yesterday, when we found out about Nick Mangold. I'd interviewed him back in the day a couple of times. I don't pretend to have known Nick, but I know what he meant to the Jets and certainly what he meant to the Buckeye family. He had been in Good Morning Football a whole bunch of times, both remotely as a player and in studio. How much interaction did you have with him? It is just gutting to hear the news a couple of weeks after he makes a public plea for a kidney, and then all of a sudden, I mean, our jaws hit the floor yesterday.
Yeah. How much interaction? Plenty of interaction. I left the Star Ledger in 2012 to go take a job with USA Today. I was national for the first time ever, which Jason Cole, who had been a beat writer who then went national to cover the NFL, gave me some of the best advice. He said, you're going to feel like you're on a waterbed. You're not going to know which way to move because everything when you're covering a team is so structured. Now it's going to be so wide open and you're not going to know. You're standing on a waterbed was the way that he said. And I felt that way. But the Jets being close to me were one of the teams that like, okay, here's where I can kind of sort of start to expand. And I countless times just going to Nick Mangold. They weren't like great sensational quotes. Like, it's not like, oh man, this guy is phenomenal. He's such a character. It was just good, solid information. And him knowing what position I was in and being courteous with his time and as forthcoming as he possibly could be, which was the Rex Ryan Jets. So it was a little looser than some other teams. And always sort of that never taking himself too seriously thing, which I can appreciate. And just a lunch pail guy when it comes to how he played, how he practiced, and how he managed that locker room. Just an ultimate professional in every sense of the word. A great guy, a great teammate, a great family man. I've traded texts with his agent over the weekend, who did not have, and not like a lot of high profile guys. This was his biggest client. I mean, a Hall of Fame client is as an agent is as good as it gets. And to have a Hall of Fame guy on top of it. And I feel for him because I know how close they were. I feel for his family. I feel for his kids, 4 kids. And I feel for the Jets. And the way that they came back to win that game yesterday, you know, I've seen this before. Sometimes it just feels like something a little bit bigger is at play. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that yesterday. I mean, you know, those guys didn't play with Nick Mangold, but some in the building, and they certainly knew what he meant to the team. And for them to come back, though, and fight the way they did in Ohio, near his hometown, I thought that was terrific. And maybe if it gives his family 10 seconds of peace right now, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I thought Kyle was amazing this morning. Our friend Kyle Brandon, GMFD, saying kind of the same thing. I didn't realize he had 4 kids. And honestly, I just got chills here because I flash back to a year ago with the Browns. We lost our friend Jim Donovan, and then the Browns went out there a few days later, and they beat the Ravens. And yesterday was obviously the 1-year anniversary of Jim's passing. Wish the Browns could have done the same there and beaten the Patriots in his honor in his hometown. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But, yeah, the Jets did get their win. And Nick Mangold will certainly be missed. You're always loved as well. We appreciate you doing this on very short notice, heeding the call and getting in front of the camera when you have better things to do. Please, everybody, watch The Insiders at 7 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday, and especially watch Thursday when Mike Garafolo is on GMFB. Maybe even in Halloween dress-up garb. No?
Okay. So I'm done for the year. I did it on Saturday. Let me see if there's still going to be an Insiders here with this.
Yeah, please go answer your text. We love you.
Thank you. Infighting.
Mike Garafolo truly is the best. And yes, one day there will be a book written, maybe, as maybe the three of them and me and someone else fights to write the book about NFL Now and the insiders and just the entire mid-afternoon news machine. But Mike and Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport are great. And collectively, they work as a fantastic team, yet scream and yell and point fingers at each other lovingly the entire day, 7 days a week. And the text thread is ridiculous, whether it's that one or the one that is labeled Insiders plus Siciliano with a funny picture of me. Right. Anyway, final thought here. Just want to back up about how emotional the day was on Sunday. So let's go to about 40 minutes, a half hour before kickoff. We are in the booth. Nathan, myself, the great Jason Gibbs, Mac Robinson, Dan Tracy, our core team that is always on the road together. And we had talked, and even we had talked about it the week previous, about how to honor Jim. And the Browns social team did a great job on Sunday morning, tweeting out some of Jim's amazing calls. And honestly, there isn't enough room on X or in the ether to play all his great calls because there are that many. And they give me chills every day, truly every day. And let me just say this. There isn't a Browns touchdown call of mine that is played where I don't think, what would Jim have sounded like calling that same play? I don't know that I've ever said that publicly, but believe me, I am one of those fans too, because first and foremost, as I've always told you, I am a fan. Like all this stuff back here, this is mine. Like the team didn't send it to me, it's mine. And there's a whole closet full off camera old Browns memorabilia that you guys can't see, that's stored away. There's even more in storage up the road. So Run William Run or any of his classic calls, I always think of it. I think, by the way, what Neb Chandler would have sounded like, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 touchdown Browns. I always think that. And yesterday, listening to all Jim's calls, it brought all that back, obviously, and thinking of Megan and thinking of Cheryl. And when we get the Nick Mangold news right before kick, like I turned around and I said to Gibby, and I said, Nick Mangold just died. And he said, what? And I repeated it. And he said, what? I said, yeah. And we were just in stunned silence. All the while knowing that in about 10 minutes, we had planned to have Nathan open the broadcast to honoring Jim with just an amazing, heartfelt tribute. And it was heavy. It was pretty heavy. And then we got on the air and Nathan said what he said, and he was getting emotional. And, we all got emotional. We were back in Massachusetts, right? Back in Jim's neighborhood, so to speak. And it would have been great. Like, I felt it. Like, we're going to win. I felt it. We're going to do this for Jim again. And that's what I said as Andre Schmidt approached the ball. Let's go get a win for Jim. Something along those lines. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it. It would have been great. And I wanted Quinshon to break free so I could say, run, Quinshon, run. That was in my back pocket. It didn't happen, unfortunately. But that doesn't make that doesn't make how we feel about Jim any different, obviously. It doesn't make the emotions, it doesn't lessen the emotions and lessen the love. It was with a heart full of love for Jim and his family that we called that game yesterday. And now it's a bye week, and now it's looking ahead to the future. So I didn't know what I was going to say there. I just kind of finished it up, so apologize. I was kind of meandering there, but you get the point. I wish we could have won that, and we miss Jim every single day. Friends, the Bark Tank is taking the week off. We will be back after the Jets game. The Browns will be back week number 10. Week number 10 on the road at MetLife Stadium. Browns, Jets, 1 o'clock, and then the Bark Tank the day after. I want to thank Gabe Clora, who's been producing the Bark Tank all the way this season. Jason Gibbs, obviously, and Nathan, who's amazing in the booth, and you can listen to every day on CBD, and was amazing, as always, on Sunday. And even took my little Harry Doyle jab after he went major league. Figured, let's make it a Harry Doyle kind of Sunday afternoon. Thanks for listening to, liking, subscribing to Bark Tank. Thanks for watching us on the Browns app and on YouTube as well. My name is Andrew Siciliano. Get some rest over the bye week, friends. We'll talk to you soon.